Digital photography made simple.
Hi, welcome back to Digital 1-to-1. Our segment today is about shutter speeds, what they are, and how they affect our images. But let's get right to the point and show you actually how a shutter works. This is what 1/1000th of a second looks like. This is 1/500th of a second. This is 1/250th of a second. This is 1/125th of a second. This is 1/60th of a second. This is 1/30th of a second. This is 1/15th of a second. This is 1/8th of a second. This is 1/4 of a second. This is 1/2 of a second. And finally, this is 1 second. Okay, but how does this work with digital cameras today? Now, we showed you how the shutter works and the time intervals between each one, but we use the film camera so that we can give you a demonstration in a way that you can actually see a shutter curtain work and how the shutter speeds actually appear. But with today's cameras, we have what is known as electronic shutters. And electronic shutters are composed of light-sensitive photodiodes. Now, in today's digital cameras, we have what is known as a sensor. Now, think of the sensor as a large collection of eggs in a tray, where each egg is one photodiode. Now, that sensor corresponds with the shutter speeds we set on our camera, and they're activated when we press the shutter on our camera to be in sync with those shutter speed settings. My partner Santino is going to step in, and he's going to actually show us what the sensor actually looks like on this new camera.
We're going to show you what a sensor looks like in a 35mm SLR, like this one here. The first thing we need to do is to take off our lens, which I already did here. Second thing we need to do is to adjust our shutter speed to a setting called bold. And that's going to help us bring up our mirror, as you can see there. Now I'm going to press the shutter release button and our mirror will go up. And there you see our sensor. It looks like a mirror almost. Now, Ken said something about eggs. I'm going to take a look in there, and I don't see a sensor in there. Anyway, these small point and shoot cameras also have sensors, but you can't get to them because you can't take the lens off. And you know what? Don't even try. But we're going to show you a close-up of what an actual sensor looks like on this camera. Hey, we're inside the camera now, showing you a close-up of what the mirror and sensor looks like. As you can see me in the mirror there, I'm going to press our shutter release button, and there's our sensor. Now Ken is showing you the sensor with a light going across it, give you a better sense of what it looks like. And we'll go back to our mirror being down. But now we're going to show you exactly how the shutter applies to our images.
So how do shutter speeds apply to our images? Well, right now we understand that shutter speeds are the amount of time that we allow our cameras to let the light in onto the sensor. But by taking control of our shutter speeds, we are now taking control of movement. So if we use a slower shutter speed, we're actually showing in our images a sense of motion, where if we go to a higher shutter speed, we're freezing the moment. Here's a simple guide for you to look at that's going to give you a sense of where you're going to have a sense of motion in your pictures and where you're most likely going to have a shutter speed that's going to freeze the moment. Now we have some samples to show you on how these shutter speeds actually look in our images. So take a look. You're going to actually enjoy this because you really see a range of what's frozen and what's motion. So be adventurous and take control of your shutter speeds and get to play with movement. I'm telling you, you're going to love this stuff because experimentation with movement in photography is a really fun way to be more creative. Hey, there are examples out there for you to play with. Think of sports, dancing, chasing your pet around in the yard, chasing your child around the playground, or even your baby in the crib playing with a mobile. These are all examples of movement that we can relate to on our images. Now, I also suggest as a rule of thumb, if you're going to be shooting at 1/15 of a second or slower, that we use a tripod. Now, we have some segments that coincide with this. Look to our videos on keeping the camera steady and movement and panning. So again, be a digital one-to-one photographer. Be a smarter photographer. And look to us again here on Digital One-to-One.